Okay, so it's recording right now. All right. Hello, hello, hello. This is another episode of the Mental Threads podcast. I think this is episode 68. Yeah, I'm here with my guest, Real AF. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to jump on this podcast and share, my stuff with you all and all of the stuff that we've been working on.
All right, cool, wonderful. I understand you pretty much run a podcast too. You spoke about it with me like before we hopped on, and you pretty much speak about football and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, it's a football based podcast. It's something that we just started up. Probably earlier this year. I ran another podcast a little bit ago, but it kind of died out, and not necessarily a bad way. Just we're busy with our own stuff. We're both artists. We both are living our adult lives, and we're trying to work on a ton of stuff at the same time. So that'll probably come back at some point. But yeah, no, this current one is called Slightly Outside. Check it out. It's on all platforms, Spotify, Apple. Um, it's a good place for you to go get your football. We're also sponsored by Better Edge, so if you ever need to go bet on a few games, you can go get your $20 free $20 using our promo code.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's like you already got your podcast already sponsored by somebody.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. They're a betting company, a website where you can go on there, place your bets. And actually you can, when you're losing, most places you can't pull your bet. You could pull it on here and change it over. You might lose a little bit in the process, but you won't at least lose it all. Yeah, it's a good website. It's called Better Edge, and they put us on. And they have some quality podcasts on the other end. They got some people that work with the Miami Heat, and do some good things around the area. So it's pretty cool.
Well, that's great. That's great and everything. I was trying to wait until I get a couple more content out there to actually get anything monetized for my podcast. I'm just more focused on
Yeah.
getting content out. Because I feel like the more content you have, the more people can kind of delve into it. That's kind of how I got into Kendrick and J. Cole and everything. Like it wasn't just like the music that they put out, like music videos and stuff. Is when I dwelled deeper into their mixtapes. That's when I became to really, really, get to them
Yeah.
on a foundational level. I feel like like content is a huge foundational part of being like an artist in terms of like connecting with an audience, because
Yeah.
people have to really really understand like what you're about for a while before they really go deeper into what your future is and stuff of that nature. But like as an artist and everything, I know you dropped a couple songs. I checked your YouTube channel. You drop songs like music videos like a Big Beam, North Carolina, Hear It All, and BMW. My personal favorite is Big Beam and everything. In regards to like really like delving into your art and stuff, what really inspires you when it comes to being an artist?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I started out playing the violin whenever I was in the fourth grade. So
Mm.
just starting out with some sort of musical background always kind of makes it easier to maneuver around with what I want to do. And then I mean, at an early age, the most earliest music I can remember is Sam Cooke, soul singer. And then I was just listening to a lot of Motown, Aretha Franklin, and
Mm.
just Diana Ross and the Supremes and the Spinners and the Temptations. You can go all the way back, but it was just something that my family and the household they listened to. My granddad was a big influence on that. And then as I got a little bit older, since I was in a religious household, super religious household, my brother started introducing me to rap music, and that was whenever I started listening to Drake and Wayne. Wayne was definitely a huge influence. I got me a Wayne poster on the wall.
He really
Um,
is. He really
yeah.
is.
So Wayne, Ross, those that whole YMC and B thing, and then even Chief Keef, and the whole Chicago lane was a big thing. So, and I'm originally from Oklahoma City, so I'm down south. I love all my down south. UGK is like a older rap group. I love Dirty South stuff. Project Pat, Memphis side. So yeah, that's really where all my influences have, kind of stem from. And then, I love some rock music too. I listen to country rock, everything else. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with being versatile, man. Especially, you got your little like my mom listens to a lot of country music for sure and everything. But it's like I dabble with music with reggae and dance hall and like stuff. Yeah, you gotta love that stuff. And so like rock
Yeah,
is also pretty good too, especially when you grew up playing like SmackDown versus Raw growing up. So it's
yeah.
just like things like that really influence like your taste for music and stuff of that nature. I know you mentioned a whole lot of Motown and everything. Fun fact about Barry Gordy, the third. He's like he's related to James Carter, like President James Carter.
No, I didn't.
That's like they're like second cousins, like second half cousins, because
Wow.
it's really sad because black and the dude's white, so you pretty much know it's like
Yeah,
ancestry,
slavery.
slavery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's a video on YouTube. You can pretty much check that whole family tree out if you'd like. But it's like yeah, it's like it's crazy and everything. Like would you describe yourself as like an old soul and in connection with a lot of that Motown songs and
Yeah.
stuff of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like act like I'm a old head, but I feel like it's a situation where growing up with older brothers, I wasn't really like included in a lot of stuff, so I was hanging out with my parents a lot more, you
Mhm.
know. So my parents were, like I said, they listened to a lot of gospel soul music. Like it's just what they grew up with. And I mean, you could go into like 70s, 80s stuff. They like the SOS band and Boys to Men and
Cat band.
New Edition and
Yeah.
just a lot of you could go into R&B, all of that, Mary J,
Like the
uh,
whispers and stuff.
the Whispers. Yeah, I
Love
mean,
the whispers.
the Fugees. So like it's 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 one of those things that my pop, she liked more the rap side, and then my mom was one of the people that was like, she put me on to like Phil Collins and like just different different stuff that I mean like I don't know if I would have ever kind of gotten into if it wasn't for my mom, for sure.
Yeah, dude. Like parents be having that connection with you that really connects. I know, like with my mom's side, my mom's very much really deep on with like New York rappers. Like a lot, even though she like pretends like she doesn't like rap music, like she knows she likes rap music. Like I know like stuff like Biggie Smalls her main favorite because that had the One More Chance, like One More Chance, a remix and everything. That was like a lullaby to me growing up because it was like literally come on like on the radio and it was like while the sun's kind of going down like on the radio stations, the throwback radio stations and everything. So it's just like, but that was I remember that was the kind of songs my mom would like sing to also. But it was like stuff like Biggie Smalls, 50 Cent.
Big 50, man. I
Yeah,
remember.
like my mom loves New York rappers. Like whether she like, especially back in those days, those early days, she like Ludacris too. Like that little South kind of mixing with it. It's just like I was growing up, music when it came to that, it was just more like the music videos. It was like something like it was like a party type thing. It's just something that people just like watching the videos. So like I really didn't delve deeper into it until like I hit up with Tupac, had the Tupac songs burned into my MP3 player and stuff, and I didn't know what other songs how to put more songs on it. So that was the only songs I could listen to.
Yeah.
And it's just like yeah, just stuff like that. That was kind of what kind of shoehorned me into the whole rap music thing as a whole. Um, in regards to how like rap, how you pretty much grew into rap and stuff of that nature. Like I grew into rap through adversity, because like I had a hard time in middle school and stuff of that nature. So it's like on your sense of like what growing into rap and stuff. Was there something like maybe a sense of adversity or a sense of self rediscovery, or maybe just a sense of just self expression that kind of had you grow into your place in rap and what motivates you in the rap?
Yeah, like I said, it was a cool thing whenever, you kind of get to start out with making music just I guess in a traditional sense. But at the same time, like I was going through the traditional sense and I was getting kind of bored of playing like classical music. You
Mm.
know, it's not like all my teachers were like chill. Some of them were a little bit more harsh with the songs that we played that were a little bit more difficult and technical. And, you're just kind of like, bruh, like, can we just play some like pop music from this decade or something like that in like an orchestral form instead of like going so, deep into all of this stuff. Uh, but then I ended up running into a teacher of mine later on in high school, um, who who did a lot more in terms of just like stylistic stuff whenever it came to orchestra. Like, we would flip our bow around instead of using the hair on the bow, we would use the backside of it, whether it's wood, nylon, whatever, and you would slap. slap it on the strings, it sounds like Bones, kind of dancing around for like a Halloween concert. So it was like little things like that kind of showed me that he was a little bit different. And I ended up talking to him. He's a producer. And he just kind of said, like, what do you want to do with music? Because my parents didn't really like the idea of me doing music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what you gonna do with it? You gonna be a music teacher? You gonna be what? Uh, 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 a music exec? What do you want to do with it? At that point, just study business instead. Don't waste your time with music. So um, he just kind of asked me what I wanted to do, gave me a whole bunch of career paths, and I mean, he told me to go get Pro Tools, and I just kind of ignored it for a while and stay recording, doing goofy stuff, and I had always just enjoyed rap music. I mean, my brother was a rapper whenever I was like, 5, 6, 7 years old, and I would just hear him freestyling. So, I mean, it was one of those things that it was just kind of always around. Now, whether I was like super into, you know, uh, like the whole lifestyle behind it or anything like that at the time, I didn't get into the whole like rap lifestyle to understand what everything was until I was a little bit older, probably like 13, 12, 13, 14, listening to like Future and stuff like that, I guess. So like the whole adversity thing for me, like I feel like it was just I did feel like growing up in Oklahoma, bro, I was outcast, bro. Like you gotta imagine, like I could count the number of black kids in my grade on both hands. Like that's still a limited number, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't go over both hands. So it's not like there's very many of us out there. So yeah, it definitely was a little bit awkward. You don't get too many people that think band is cool or music is like super cool. It's like be a sports player, be something else. You know. So
Oh yeah, no, I could feel that for sure. So it's like I know like growing up in like predominantly white institutions, dude, like I swear it was weird. It was very, very weird. That's why I went to an HBCU and like college, man, changed my life. I
I
graduated
was
from
sitting in the back of every band class until I was taking like I had to go take private lessons. That's what my my band teacher, Miss McDonald. I hate to name drop her like that, but she'll hear it. I thank her anyway, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be as good as I, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, she had me in the back, bro. I was non-chair. You can't even first, second, third, fourth. I was just the second violins in the very back, bro. It was sad. Like and so I feel like after a certain point, whenever they kind of realized that my parents was willing to kind of put a little bit more money into things, she stopped doing all of that stupid stupid stuff. It's exactly how you would expect it to be. It's the same thing with sports. If you got your parents got money, your so and so got money, you not as this, you not as that. They stop messing with you, black, white, and anyway, money talk,
Dang.
bullshit walk. You know how it go.
So you were kind of discriminated, like beyond racial barriers. You were also discriminated in regards to classism too, to a certain degree.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you gotta imagine, like, if you think about it, like you could live in the suburbs out there in Oklahoma, but again, people don't expect black people to live in the suburbs, especially back early 2000s. Like it just wasn't common. I mean, like the suburbs was the suburbs. It just wasn't very diverse. Like, it's like 2 to 3% black out there. And everybody else, the Hispanics, they all live on the other side of town, bro. Everybody else live on the other side of town. Even all my other family members just lived on the other side of town. My parents is first generation college graduates. Um, they worked their asses off for us to have the lifestyle that we lived. And like even before we even got to live in the nicer houses, we wasn't, living the craziest stuff ever.
Yeah, man, I could feel that, man. It's just like it always feels like it's kind of lonesome because it's just like the system has us like always trying to scramble at the bottom and everything.
Yeah.
So it's
They
like the few people that actually rise above. It's like it's just I don't want to say it's lonely in a sense, but in a sense it's kind of hard to kind of like in a sense relate to other people to a degree. I can understand that, like, because my father was like working at like the hospitals, and my mom's working at hospitals, so we had bread to the point where we can afford like private education. for the first couple years and everything. And then over time, it just kind of, I don't want to say it deteriorated, but in the sense, it's just like situations got kind of change up and everything. Sometimes they stay stable over time. You know, you fall out of link with a lot of people that you used to grow up with, and then you just have to kind of like switch up and find your own identity to a certain degree, also. So it's just I feel like I found a lot of that when I went to an HBCU. You know, I realized who I was when I went to an HBCU. You know, that's did you ain't go to you went to college, right? Did you go to college?
I went to college for a year, and
Didn't
I
work
think,
out.
yeah, I mean, look, bro, it's not like I always encourage people to, if you go into college and you know what you want to do, go to college and stay in college. If you don't know what you want to do and you just there just doing the college thing, you wasting your money, you wasting your time, bro. Like it's not really, it's not a place for you to go there and just goof off, bro. And that's exactly what I was doing. And so I figured whenever I got there, I was making music, and I was working my ass off at a Target. I had left school a little bit early because I wasn't doing as hot in the second semester. And I ended up getting stuck with a, new shitty roommate that had some weird allegations against him on, female stuff. And I just left early. And my parents wasn't messing with how I was moving at the time because, again, it was religious. And, I ended up doing my own thing and living out the car for a little bit and sucking it up, going back home and getting a job and, working my ass off at the mall doing, I worked at Spencer's, crazy enough, the little crazy store at the mall. And
Yeah, no, Spencer's. I like that store. That's all right.
yeah,
It's good to like walk in sometimes, like, but you don't want to
right.
buy everything from there. It's just like, oh yeah,
Uh,
sure, this is funny.
I started working there because I remember my brother took me in there whenever I was a little kid, and I saw all the music shirts, and I always just thought
Yeah,
like, again, my parents ain't like all the rock music a lot of the times unless it was more of the classic rock. But I always thought it was like a wild store just in general, and it's not like I was a wild kid. I was definitely very like shy,
mhm,
but
sure.
I just found it interesting, and then I ended up working there, bro. I just was like, why not? They gave me a management position, and off rep, I interviewed as an associate and ended up going to manager without even having to, work a day there. They just said, we like what you're doing in the interview. You want to try out for a manager spot? I'm like, sure, why not? So I met up with the DSM and they gave me a good little position.
Yeah, gotta move up any way you can, man. And do you
Yeah.
still work at Spencer's to this day, or do you work somewhere else?
No, I work somewhere else, bro. I work somewhere else. I work from home. It's nice. I do, calendar work and just
Just make
try
it
to.
happen.
Yeah, it's a nice little cut. That's all I'm gonna disclose about the job.
All right, cool. That's fine. That's all. It's all good, man. You just gotta make the grind any way you can and stuff of that nature. You know, the reason why I
Yeah,
ask, because I see the quality of your music videos. You know, that's like some like blockbuster type. You know, to me, I think it's blockbuster type to a degree and everything. Like, you know, it's just I feel like music videos are so important, man, because you know, like we live in an ADHD type generation, and they could listen to your song, but it's like, you know, when you put on a video, they can actually feel it. There's like more sensations being like, visually. You know what I'm saying? So it's
yeah,
just like for you to actually sell like your YouTube channel, they have like four good solid like music videos and everything. You know, amongst having like other songs out there too, like it's only gonna help people like maintain interest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. That's the whole goal, at least in my mind. Like outside of like I make music because it's fun. Like I've always had fun with it, but like on the what everybody trying to do is the business side of it, and to me it's the most taxing side in so many ways, mentally, physically, pockets, everything, bro. The business side is a lot. So, along with the business side comes marketing. And that's where it's like, I started out with a couple of videos that's not up there anymore that were,
YouTube took
not
it off.
no, I personally took them off because you gotta imagine it's like for me, like I know people love progress and seeing progress, but certain people could have done some some better work. It's not like it's a bad thing. It was just like we're all developing it. Even the songs weren't all that crazy either. So it's not like it's all on a videographer at the same time. So like, I just picked out the best ones that we've done and I made sure whenever I found the right person that I stuck with the right person. And I was like, bro, he do the best job. He gonna convey the visions that I have. The BMW video that just recently came out. That one was one of them ones where I had everybody kind of sit down. That was a part of the project, and I kind of mentioned that I wanted to travel, go visit everybody, and make sure that I chop it up with them. And if we could vlog it, that would be dope. But COVID came around and cash is tight. Everybody kind of doing their own thing in their own states and their own relative zones, and it's hard to get around with all of this COVID stuff. With flights and driving and all of that stuff. So we just went down to Houston. We went up to New York. We shot one video for it, and we wanted to make sure that it was clean on all ends, and that's the primary goal, is to put out the best product. To me, it's quality over quantity now. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people focus on like make 100 beats over the next month. It's like, bro, like, how many of those are you really gonna you know
Mm.
feel like you gonna feel them? You got to work on it, and you got to do your craft every day. That may be one or two beats, three beats. If you can knock out 5 beats in a day, do it. If it comes out naturally, do it. I'm not saying don't work on more than what you can work on, but like, take your time with it, and like really build on it. That BMW video took 6 months, and it had a few $1,000 budget, so it was definitely worth it though.
That's
I
crazy,
enjoyed it.
man. $1,000 for, I know, for a music video and everything. It's like man, that's a lot. That's good investment regardless, because the quality is right there. But it's
I
like,
mean, you gotta imagine though that like my people's like I could be paying a lot more for the videos that I'm getting, but like the few thousand is for plane tickets, and you gotta drive people places, gas, and it accounts for a lot of stuff. You don't just get to be like most people do running guns. Like they'll just do it outside their neighborhood, their local neighborhood, with their best videographer. And I just didn't, I'm like, I see that every day out here in the DMV. Once you get out here, you'll see it. A lot of the artists, they do a lot of running guns, and it is what it is. It kind of reminds me of the Chicago drill scene. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to do something where it's like, every time we do something, it's a little bit different, and it doesn't feel like a run and gun. Like, we planned it out. It has a set. It has some sort of feel to it.
no, I
That
can
gives
feel
people
that.
a good vibe.
I could feel that because like it stands out more. Like, how many videos have you seen with the whole drill, people just holding guns and shit, everything over and over again, like the typical rap video. Like, we get it, like y'all run deep, y'all got
Yeah,
weapons, y'all are so
y'all
dangerous.
sliding.
Like,
Y'all sliding.
even
And
all of these
that's
videos be used in court and shit. Like, oh no, those fake guns, those not real.
yeah.
Them BB guns. Like, it's like, I ain't trying to shit on nobody, but it's just like, conceptually, I just feel like, like as an artist, I feel like your best asset is really like what you are as an individual. Because the more you
Exactly.
are as an individual, the more people just kind of like they want to like, they have more intrigue and more curiosity to you. It's hard to really for someone to invest into something that doesn't catch their eye. Like you see how
Exactly.
Tyler the Creator was and everything. Everybody used to shit on Tyler the Creator for being weird and everything.
They call
Even to
him
this day, they
they
say
call
he's
him
weird. Yeah,
cancelable, I guess, if
yeah.
that's even a word, because he was saying words that people didn't like. He's a hater, he's homophobic, he's this, that, the third. They used to say everything about Tyler, bruh. Now look at him.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna say I was always a fan of his music, not because it was like I didn't like what he was saying. It was just more of the sound. Like, the Igor John was really where I feel like I was like, wow, bro, like you took it back to a sound. Even Flower Boy
yeah.
right
And
before
now,
that.
call me when you get home and everything. That's pretty good
Yeah,
too.
Call Me When You Get Lost. Yeah, that John.
That came out in the summer last year. I was driving that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, yes, yes.
So his earliest John, like Goblin, was just very abrasive, and it was something that I wasn't like used to. And like I ended up getting more accustomed to that sound when XXX Tentacion came out
Yeah,
later on, and you could just hear overly powering bass
yeah.
sub sounds, and you're like, all right, bro, like this is starting to become normal. And Tyler was one of those people that was kind of ahead of the
Like
curve.
pioneering it to a
Yeah,
degree. I guess, what really helps with Tyler, because it's just like, because when you grew up watching like Adult Swim as a kid and everything, you saw like, like you got to stay up late for it and everything. I guess you get kind of catch on to a little bit more quicker the whole the whole randomness of everything and the whole
Yeah.
absurdness from a lot of the this art. So it's just like, I really appreciate Tyler for opening that window and everything, because now, oh snap, we like okay, 10 minutes. All right, yeah, I think we can connect this in the next one. We got 10 more minutes. We can still connect it in the next Zoom if you want. You want to just do that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, sure, no problem. Because like, I feel like we're just scratching the surface on a lot of things. But yeah, Tyler the Creator, yeah, man, it's crazy because he really changed his sound and everything to really match his like he matured in a say, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like he really fell into his sound, like a real sound, and you watch it like kind of grow into that. It's just like it really gives people a chance to be like, okay, you can't be stagnant forever. Because you imagine you were doing the same stuff for Goblin and Bastard, like all to this day in his 30s. Like, no, he really went into Flower Boy. It started with Cherry Bomb. I think Cherry Bomb was like
Cherry Bomb.
things were trying to change with Cherry Bomb, and then it went to like Flower Boy, and then Igor, and then now Call Me When You Get Lost and everything. And it's just like you really appreciate that because like he was considered an underdog to a certain degree. Now it's like he gets a Grammy now, like all the time. It's like, oh, he got a Grammy, duh, and everything. And when you first hear him getting awards, like, oh, Tyler the Creator got an award. Like, who's Tyler the Creator? And then you get into his catalog, and then now it's just we could actually live in that era. We're like, wow, we really saw Tyler the Creator grow into Tyler the Creator. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah. So it's
It
like,
was a good time too, because this whole camp really developed. The whole Odd Future, camp, just like everybody in there from Earl, everybody just kind of grew into their own artists. And I even feel like, watching Tyler, I was watching him produce, and it's just like he sits back now and he don't just think about like beat making. He makes like arrangements. Like he'll sit back and be like, bro, here's like my third bridge. That's third varying bridge in this song to lead you back over into a chorus for a whole beat switch up to go into a Jamaican reggae sound. Like you just don't catch that from very many people at all. Like even some of the better producers in the game don't even work that hard to make their sound that unique. And then even then it's like he does the best of the old sound, but it doesn't feel like he's like copying it. I love Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak John, but I feel like it was just a copied version of something that I had heard back in the day. It was really well done. It was a really well done copy. But like Tyler's just feels so natural, bro. It feels so natural every time I listen to his albums.
yeah,
Like
because it's
from
from him. It's straight from him. Everything is him. He's literally living his art style, even from creating the whole wig thing, moonwalking in a wig. Like, come on, like who can actually make that like actually marketable? One, two, actually make it real and genuine. Because most people be like, oh, they're just wearing wigs for attention. It's like, no, that's like his literal art and everything, and
yeah.
that shot him to the top of the charts to the point where even DJ Khaled had to be like, get every type of artist on his projects, and it's like, okay, like, but it
He
still
still
wasn't
couldn't do
enough
nothing.
to. And now you gotta hate on it. 'Cause I know being number one was like his whole identity and everything, but it's just like And I don't want to like shit on DJ Khaled, whatever works, like because we was all like
Hey,
listening to that. Oh, put your hands up, and they stay there. Like it's just like yeah, like you still.
Khaled got he deserved his flowers, bro. I know everybody found him a little bit annoying, but like I think most people forget that like bro was there when Wayne was at the record shop before Birdman even signed. He was a DJ letting Lil Wayne freestyle in the record shop where
Yeah,
he got his deal at. Like DJ Khaled is one of them dudes that put on a good amount of people, and he even connected Wayne and Ross.
yeah,
So like that's a duo that's unmatchable. So like, people always kind of geek on him because his production style, it gets a little stale. He always samples, he always gets other people on his songs and never do his own track, whatever you want to say about him. Another one. But like bro did his thing. Like he did his thing as a DJ and as a producer. He found his lane and like he stuck with it. And yeah, it's stale now, but like, you can always appreciate what he did whenever, he was coming up for
yeah.
sure.
You have some
Shout
good
out to
tracks.
Khaled.
he has some good tracks on like his albums too and everything. Although like they're just swamped with other artists.
Welcome to my hood. Yeah, shout out to Ace Hood, bro. I feel like people forgot
Yeah,
about
whatever
Ace.
happened to Ace Hood, man? I remember them early, them like 2002, 2009
I
days and everything.
love Ace Hood, bro.
Dude really gets you working in the gym too, man.
Yeah.
He's on my playlist for sure. Once I really start hitting Planet Fitness in the next 3 months, I'm gonna look like Rambo just because of Ace and everything. It's just
Yeah,
like
nah,
that.
bro.
Yeah, but it's
Ace Hood is definitely that dude, bro. I remember my brother. See, this is funny because my middle brother, he's the dude that listened to a lot of the southern rap music. So he put me on a lot of the UGKs and again, you know, Project Pat, all of these folk from down south, Lil Wayne, and it was just funny to me that like back then that sound was just so even Ace Hood, like the sound was so raw, but also at the same time, like they was some of, in my opinion, and people always hate me for saying this, I was like, they were some of the most impressive rappers, from back in the day. Like somebody got mad at me, and this is gonna be controversial. Somebody, they could fight me if they want to about it, but I said Wayne's first project with the Hot Boys was more impressive than Ho's first project. More impressive, not a better body of work, not a better album,
yeah,
not better bars. Impressive, bro. Was 14 rapping,
yeah,
freestyle like that. Like it's just, it's berserk. Like it's almost like you watching people. I'm a huge Juice WRLD fan. Juice WRLD was one of them guys that just freestyle off his ass, and you couldn't stop him. You go for hours, and that's kind of like when you talk about Wayne, like that's that's what Wayne was when he was 14, 13, 14, 15 years old, just going on beats and tearing it up with dudes that are sitting there penning and freestyling, half writing, and they're 10 years older than him in a rap group, and they've been doing it for 10 years. So
yes.
that's the reason why I love that whole sound. Ace Hood, shout out to Ace Hood.
And you
He
can't really
died off.
sleep.
He's
Yeah,
the one, bro.
yeah, yeah, and you can't sleep on Wayne's like GOAT status at all because dude had it locked down for a while. Like, and
Oh
even
yeah.
found like Drake and everything, and Nicki Minaj, the whole Young Money. Like that was a whole era. That was like a chapter in hip hop that we can all look back at. Some people hate it, some people love it. I'm gonna say I love it. I'm in the lane that loved it, just like looking back on it and everything, just for like appreciating. Because when I was listening to Wayne and I'm writing like my rhymes and my rap books and everything, I feel like that's when I was at my most creative, that I was
Yeah.
really like building a system and everything. And I have to owe that to Wayne to a certain degree, just for the era that he was like pushing on. Because like J. Cole, Kendrick, and everything, they're like my main influences too. But Wayne was like, that's what really got me to like really like really get deep on like metaphors and stuff. And
Oh
like,
yeah. No,
that was
Wayne's similes.
Wayne. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Wayne's similes and metaphors were crazy. And you said J. Cole and Kendrick. I didn't mention them, but I love Cole and Kendrick. I do. Kendrick is probably I love Drake is, one of my top dudes. I hate to be that guy, but like he one of my top dudes.
He
Just
is.
one of
I
the
mean, I
first.
know people don't like to admit it, but it's like even at first, like, come on, we was all the like, well, this guy's like he be singing to like females. He's a, like I thought him in the same light as like Chris Brown and everything, but over time he really dominated. Like he's earned
Yeah,
his spot. Really, long term longevity wise, he's earned it. You can't say
yeah.
anything about it because he's earned it. And that's just kind of how I see it. The only problem is now he needs to find like a hair, like a hair, somebody he can like pass the
So
torch to,
I've been
the same way
saying
how
this
Wayne
for
does. Like he
two
does,
years,
yeah.
bro. I've been saying this for 2 years. I've been saying, bro, who did he get? Party Next Door, Magic Jordan. Who did he get? Jack Harlow. You want to tell me who his next dude is? I'm like, bro,
Even
sign
think Jack
somebody.
Harlow would be like like not after Drake because like they did a song together, but it's like that's not enough. You know what
They
I'm
say they
saying?
talk every day on the phone, bro.
Oh, really? They do? Jack
That's
Harlow
what
and Drake?
that's what Jack Harlow said in a recent interview. They talk every day. They text each other every morning.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be sure to talk about that next. So we only got like 1 minute left, and I know we just start getting really into it. Like we'll be on
Yeah,
for like a while, so I'm gonna just close this recording, then we can hop back on in a little bit. How about that?
yeah, for
All
sure.
right, cool. No problem. Let me just stop the recording right about. Bang. All right, now some progress. All right, all right. So back on the whole influence of like Lil Wayne and everything, and that what was it, like 2009 through? I know it was earlier than that because Lil Wayne's kind of been doing stuff in Top Boys and everything, but I think when he started dominating, it was like 2008, 2009.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for sure. I mean, it was probably like that 07, 08, 09 time, 010, or I said 010, 2010
I think it was
time.
2012. Like was like the ending of it. Like really kind of slowing up. Was it 2012?
I say, it went a little bit further than that because I mean, if you want to count like some of his later records, I feel like yeah, for his albums they were a little bit slower, but I feel like he still had his range with features. Like he was still holding down as like the feature king. I feel like he still is because he'll still put out like 100 features in 365 days out of the year, which is like absurd that he's like on
Mm.
almost every song with every person. If you looking for a Lil Wayne Fallout Boy feature, he's there. If you're looking for a Drake Lil Wayne feature, he's there. If you're looking for whoever you want, pair him up with Wayne, he probably got a feature with him. You know.
Yeah. And then that transition, it was from Wayne's era to then like the Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick era, basically. And
Yeah.
that's where things were just kind of like, it was them three that was kind of holding it down going
Top
forward.
three, top three.
Yeah, man. And like the Drake's mixtapes, man, when you really deep into like the whole comeback season and room for improvement, man, dude was really like spitting bars and was actually like being able to find a balance between harmonizing and singing too, which is
Yeah.
very crucial because it touches more groups and everything. Because like you got to make song for even woman to jam to too. It's not
Yeah.
it can't just all be about bars. You're trying to put stuff out there,
Yeah.
So that's
And
Drake has that formula.
that's the thing that I think inspired a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of people don't mention Kanye in that same conversation. He was a little bit in the era before and definitely bled over into Drake's time frame, and Kendrick and everybody else's time frame too. But like making music that's just like, backpack kid music. That's what Kanye's whole thing was. Backpacks and polos, bro. Like you ain't gotta be a thug to make good music. To make good rap music really. And so like I think that inspired people to just kind of be themselves and naturally like, want to make music however it sounded. And that's the reason why I did like Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't the most outgoing kid. I was definitely, again, I was a little bit more shy whenever I was a younger kid. I didn't have the whole like persona, even though my mom had me in pageants and modeling competitions and weird, just goofy stuff. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't nothing like something that I was gonna stick with for a long time because I didn't have as much fun like posting up for old white people to just like be like, oh, you're cute. Huh?
I mean, hey, you got to get your confidence any way you can, man.
Any way you
Like,
can, bro,
but,
I guess.
like the confidence that Kanye, I feel like really like for people who began to listen to Kanye when he first came out and he beat 50 Cent, like 50 Cent representing all the gangster rap and everything that was dominating for years.
Yeah.
And then in transition for Kanye West with graduation that like really like beat Curtis like crazy bad. Not like bad like oh like 50 Cent shit sucks or anything like that, but like because 50 Cent's era too was dominant in itself. But the way Kanye West is like revolutionary in itself, because it's like we can't just have just songs where people just killing each other and being a thug and thug all the time. You gotta
Yeah.
have like more leg room to like for have more voices still really protrude themselves. Without Kanye, there will be no Tyler the Creator, no, not even a Drake to a certain degree. Drake would have to be an R&B singer, and that would be his thing. Like that would be his lane. I don't think Drake could be able to get into rapping without Kanye when you think about it too. Like, 'cause it's just like to like, because people see that singing stuff as so soft, even to this day. But it's like but Drake can be hard too. Like especially like dude dropped charged up in back to back, and that like that what it did to me
Yeah.
when that happened because it's just like he just really showcased like yeah he has ghostwriters, even Kanye has ghostwriters, and but he's
Drake
he can be
helped
yeah.
Kanye write songs on his albums. Kanye helped you, bro. I'm at this point. Everybody who cares about ghostwriters, it's like,
It's whatever.
it's whatever, bro. I know old heads and rappers gonna hate that. Penning is not no longer something that's so cared about and skill. It is still cared about. I do want to make that clear. You should be penning your own stuff for the most part. If people always gonna have help on lines and people there are gonna be certain people that use ghostwriters. I'm not surprised no more, bro. It happens. But like you mentioned, Kanye's influence spanned even further than just like that era. Like you could look at Uzi, you know, Juice Worlds, Lil Peeps, anybody who has the room to just talk about emotional feelings,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether they, on the God side or whatever, bruh, they was inspired by Ye. They had to have been, just because again, you don't just get to talk about whatever rap music, be a rapper and just be that, because long before you got to be that. Even T.I., bruh, T.I. was like, Southern hood
Yeah.
gangster rap, and then he did like Live Your Life in like 2011, 2012, bruh. You
Yeah,
know what
with
I'm saying? Like
Ghana. Yeah, those
crazy
were
to
some
think
good
about that.
songs, man. With the
Yeah.
TS stuff, yeah, but even with the 808s and Heartbreak with Kanye West, dude, like it was like a real like step forward to where it just wasn't just One thing I love about Kanye's like each album and everything, it was different. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree, like you had your chipmunk type, like you know what I'm talking about, little chipmunk vibes with the
Sample,
whole,
yeah.
yeah. They didn't sample chipmunks, but it's I think it's called what chipmunk R&B something, chipmunk funk, something like that. It's a name for stuff like that. Or those squeaky voice remix of the samples and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he speeds it up, pitches it up, and
That started with College Dropout. Then Late Registration was a little bit more darker. Then Graduation had its more techno type, different higher uplifting vibe. Then it was 808s and Heartbreak, and then like My Dark Twisted Fantasy and stuff of that nature. Each album had its own identity.
yeah.
That's what I like. What's
I
my
always,
favorite?
yeah. Actually, no, don't even do a favorite because it's so hard to do favorites. Give me your top three.
Top three. I don't even like doing top three, but I can explain where I like each one of these. But top three personally, if we had to just go up, like College Dropout, obviously, Graduations, and dang, I'm gonna have to go with My Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy too, because it was just that album right there really solidified him on an artistic level.
Yeah,
Like
nah. Everybody hates my Kanye album list, and I love all the early Kanye albums. I mean, who don't love College Dropout and Graduation and Late
hey, your
Registration?
list is your list, man. Like
Yeah, but my top three is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, The Life
mhm,
of Pablo, and then Yay. And it was his last jump before he just went fully Christian. Yay was the joint that was I Hate Being Bipolar. It was that whole
mhm,
mountain jaunt. And it has songs like Ghost Town and Violent Crimes and stuff that I feel like when you just like talk about Kanye, you listen to a lot of his earlier stuff. He was a little bit more closer to himself. He
mhm,
started to kind of like fade away. But
mhm,
even though he started to fade away, I started to notice, at least on that Yay album, he was coming back to himself. He was having some sort of self-realization, some self-growth in terms of what he was looking for in his life, whether that was, God, or whether that was more music, his wife, his kids. Like he opened up and elaborated to a point that I feel like I hadn't heard, and it was so short. It was 7 songs, and it was during that same time as Daytona, where they
mhm,
was all just dropping like 7 song albums. Everybody, Pusha T, him, was Tiana Taylor, I think.
mhm.
They all just did the 7 song album joints, and that was just one of my favorite ones from Kanye. I don't know why it stuck with me, and it hit, and it never really left.
Yeah, man, it's like seriously, like really, it's just I know, like for nostalgic reasons, like you gotta love College Dropout and everything, and considering how that was literally the project that pretty much
Put
started
him on, bro. Yeah,
yeah, literally, like every song, even like from Last Call to freaking what was that song? The song he did with Jamie Foxx,
Gold Digger.
yeah, Gold Digger. Not the Gold Digger, but it's like she says she wants some Marvin Gaye.
Oh, some Luther Vandross, a little Nina could really set this party on
What's that
fire.
song?
Wanna be. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
The twist.
slow jam,
Yeah,
slow
slow
jam.
jams. Yeah, I can't believe it's just like you already know the vibes and everything already. It's just like man, I remember skating to that at Cape Skate, so a lot of that stuff, man. That was just that whole project with College Dropout, man. It's like that was such like a great introductory project. Like
Yeah,
Nas has Illmatic. Jay Z has like Reasonable Doubt and everything. Kanye had College Dropout, and it was because of College Dropout, man. It was just it really, really set himself apart from so many different rappers. You know, it wasn't like on no thug stuff, no street stuff. It was just being an average Joe, and it worked with that time because it was also like that same vibe. It also kind of touched. It kind of complemented with the Life Jennings vibe and the whole. Who else? It was Life Jennings and it was old dude from North Carolina, Anthony Hamilton type vibe.
Anthony
And the
Hamilton.
whole,
Shout out to Anthony Hamilton, man. He got a beautiful voice.
yeah, and the
He was
Fantasia
on
vibes.
Tyler. He was on Tyler's more recent joint. He did backup vocals on Earthquake, and he did a joint with Ace Hood. Like he is a G. Shout out to Anthony Hamilton, bro.
Yeah, no,
That my
that
parents
whole
used to play him in the house.
yeah, no,
Like,
seriously, that genre, dude, that neo soul genre, bro. Like I miss it. We need to bring that back, man. That
yeah.
Life Jennings, Anthony Hamilton stuff. I don't know what about it, but that's one genre we need to bring back. That and dancehall. We need to bring that back for real because like I
Drake
feel
tried
like
to do the dancehall joint, and I don't know how I really feel about it,
he
bro.
does Afro beats. That's the thing. It's not dancehall like with Drake. It
Yeah.
kind of touches upon the dancehall elements, but it's mostly Afro beats. I feel
He
like it
did a
works.
couple of joints that were more dancehall esque, but like those were the really, like okay, for example, like I like George's interlude, and
Yeah.
that had more trap beats to it. It had a trap beat on it, but if you were to listen to the original song, it was a lot more closer to dancehall because Georgia Smith she does more dancehall music. And I like when he does stuff like that. I think Drake's specialty is taking a song that's not necessarily rap and flipping it into a rap song. Like that's when you get the 9 a.m.s and the 8, the 7, his freestyles, his Chicago, his Chicago freestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like where you take an R&B song or you take something else, you just kind of flip it, and even if it's a originally recorded as a dancehall song, like take it and flip it and use it to your advantage. Because the thing about Drake is people loves when he raps. People loves when he sings too, but people really love when he raps. And it's not like he has to go in and be a thug when he raps. He just has to go in and make some
And
relatable bars.
just
That's it.
vent and be relatable. Well, the
Yeah.
one thing I like about Drake, he's really good at taking like an obscure genre and like bringing it into the mainstream.
Oh
Like
yeah.
UK, who was looking at UK rap until after like War and all those other stuff? And so he
Uh,
started doing like behind these bars freestyles and stuff. It was like,
I actually I'll say this. He did songs even long before that with Dave. I don't know if you
yeah,
ever heard of Dave. He did Wanna Know with Dave. And yeah, nah, he did that. It was crazy because that whole UK rap drill scene was
yeah.
like underground for a lot of
For a
people that
lot of
listen
years, now it's like
hip
starting to
hop.
rise more and more to the surface, which
Yeah,
really opens the market for more UK artists.
yeah.
And everything too. And what's really cool, like that's the thing about Drake. Like it's not just about him taking styles. He's really just opening the floodgates to more attention to different like Afro beats. It wasn't until Drake started putting more Afro beats into it so that people started focusing more on Afrobeat. Now you see like people like WizKid show up at like Dreamville Fest and stuff like that.
Wizkid
And
was
everybody just
everywhere,
vibes
bro.
with it now. It's like what you think is like only you would listen to it. Like if I'm an African kid now, and so like, imagine how I feel that now everybody's listening to stuff that like my family listen to. And like now it's
Yeah.
like, those are good genres to get into. Like
I
especially for the
know.
decade. It's 2020. So it's like, I mean the 2020s. So just imagine where it could go for like the rest of this decade. Like
Well,
imagine
there's
Super Bowl halftime shows with WizKid and everything now.
there's so many people that felt that way whenever that whole one dance track came out. So I went to Glen Country School, and I went there for basketball. We had a lot of Nigerian kids, just a bunch of kids from our homeland, brother. Um, and a lot of them were, they're gonna be, first generation college graduates in America, or their parents were first generation, college graduates in America. Um, and they listened to a lot of Kid. They listened to a lot of people that Drake was putting on at the time, and they were like, "Yo, like, since when did America start liking this music?" Like, they were just so confused. They were like, "What is this?" And when did like again, and I think it also stems from the fact that Drake is not an American artist too. That's
Yeah.
another cool thing about him is he's in Toronto, where I feel like, and it
It's a
kind of
melting
stems,
pot. It's a melting
yeah,
pot out in
it's
Toronto.
New
Have you ever
York
seen
too.
like when the Toronto Raptors made it to the Super Bowl and they go into the crowd? You can see everybody. Even like their biggest fan of the Toronto Raptors was a Zeke. The Zeke dude that got his head tied up and everything. The number one Toronto Raptor. I don't know if you're a
Yeah,
heavy basketball fan, but it
I
was
got
just
a
to see
Toronto
stuff like
Raptors
that.
jersey. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
like
I'm a huge
Jamaicans
basketball
are in
fan.
Canada, Toronto. There's just so many different groups When you realize, when I was growing up, when I thought about places like Toronto or Canada, I'd be thinking about like wrestlers like Bret Hart or like Edge. I wouldn't think
Shout
about
out
like,
to
oh wow,
Bret
no, that's
Hart, bro.
just Drake and like Jamaicans. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
thought it was
no.
just let's say Great White North. I thought it was just white people there. So like when you see all
Bro,
these different like groups being represented, it's like wow,
Justin
that's
Bieber was another reason why I thought it was all white out there too, because he was out there whenever I was in elementary school with the whole baby. He's Canadian, bro. He's
yeah,
from
man.
Toronto, and I would have never have thought like again like Drake on Degrassi. Like I have remembered my brother saying he's Canadian. My brother used to always tease me and be like, "You look like Drake. You look like a little baby Drake," because I had a
Shortcut.
short ball. Yeah, I had a short ball one, bro. I hadn't changed up my haircut until literally just recently, bro. I just got these. So
That's good. At least you start your dread journey. I'm trying to get my dread journey started, but it's like, like it's just something about my health and everything. It's nothing too crazy, but it's just like, it's gonna take like a while to really like grow out to dreads and everything. I still feel like I can pull it off though. But anyway, it's just like, but it's like, yeah, man, it's like that's the beauty of like Drake, is that like there's so much cross like
oh yeah.
marketability when it comes to stuff like that. And everything, with them like doing the whole Afro beats thing with One Dance and stuff of that nature. And then it's just like it really just opens the market to more things. Because what people hate in America when it comes to consumerism, we don't like stagnancy and everything. That's the beauty about hip hop. It can be like country hip hop, you can get like little rock hip hop, you can get your emo hip hop. It bleeds into so many different like tastes and flavors that now like if somebody wanted to bring like some reggae or some Afro pop, some dance hall and stuff. Like even with Lil Nas X with the whole country cowboy thing. Look how that blew up. One song and everything that blew up. And now it's like he's doing so many other things. So like people really like to have like, variety and versatility. People like to hear different types of things. It's not just gonna be just one thing.
Yeah. And when you try and branch out to, like you said, it reaches a lot of different subsections. It's like if you got to look at certain people and you got to say to yourself like how many people do they really branch outside of their hood, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes it a little bit more real for certain people when you say like, yo, like outside of your 7,000 followers in your neighborhood, bruh. Like, how many of these white people listen to your music, or how many of these Asian people listen to your music, or how many of these? Because again, it starts to stem out to like you gotta start to make a little bit more commercial stuff. I remember my man hit me with that. He was like, "Bro, you just making commercial shit right now," and I'm like, "Yeah," because after a certain point, I kind of want my music to be, a little bit commercial and a little bit, experimental. I don't want it to all just be experimental and always be this underground dude that never gets no love and no credit based upon the fact that it doesn't ever hit with the general public's opinion. I don't really care to always match the general public's opinion, but I definitely can make something that's in taste to it, and there ain't nothing wrong with that either, especially if you like the sound of it. And I think a lot of people like the sound of it, so that's the reason why I always I'm like, Drake haters, you got to go to the door, bro.
I
You
mean, it's
gotta,
okay to have commercial stuff. It really is
yeah,
okay to have kind of commercial type stuff, man. Like it's just like like even with J. Cole, like he did the whole workout for me type song. It's like that was what I was knowing him for, and like and then like you go deeper into his mixtapes and everything, and it was like like oh wow, he's not just another rapper. He has like an
yeah,
other huge capital, and now he's like one of the most leading people. So like, it's crazy because we literally grew up with these artists. When you think about it, like I'm 24 and I'm still having flashbacks to, like middle school, high school, in regards to like just putting on to Mac Miller, J. Cole, and Tyler the Creator, Kendrick Lamar, and everything. And then you see how their art changes over time, and it's like, dude, like really, like what a time to. I know people like to shit on like rap in our time. It's like, oh, this rap is whack. So, ain't nothing. There's so much good stuff out there, bro. Like I cannot really get into the whack stuff because I just don't listen to it. Like I'm not into the radio like that. You can always find stuff like on your own that you like, and then you put yourself onto like an artist that maybe not many people have heard of. Then over 5 years later, bang, everyone's heard of them. That's the beauty of the journey when it comes to being like an artist yourself. And that's why I want let's just kind of like detract to really like focus on you for a minute. Is that where do you see yourself in the next like 5 years, basically?
Oh, that's a good question. It's so hard to imagine, the next 5 years, but at the same time, it's really not. Uh, to me, like, 2 years ago, I had told myself, I want to be able to just be happy with the content that I create. And so my entire goal was to just get better at making, music, get better at, engineering, get better at producing, get better at every little aspect that I can, because what I want to be in 5 years is a self-made artist. Really, is I want to be somebody that, if a label calls, but really, it's more so about just enjoying the product that I make. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think over the next 5 years, I'm just gonna continue to hone in on my craft. I want to be, a really good producer. I want to keep growing in that area. And then I want to be able to, call myself one of the better engineers in the area, or even in the United States or the world or whatever, wherever that leads me to. I always like to just speak positive stuff into existence. Manifestation to me is a big thing. So,
Yes.
it's one of those things, bro, that like in 5 years I could imagine just, continuing to be in the music scene, continuing to be in the music industry. We got some good contacts on the way, and like I ain't no telling what that leads to. It could be, a lot, or it could be nothing, but you always just hope for the best. So I see myself just continuing to grow as an artist, and being somebody that, branches outside of just music. I want to be able to not, I don't want to buy, Rick Ross bought a Wingstop, and then he bought like 10 Wingstops, and then he bought like 15 Wingstops. I don't want to own Wingstop. I want to own the farm that supplies Wingstop, they chicken wings and they tomatoes and they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be the distribution for everybody. I want to own back catalogs of whatever, the product is, whether that's music, food, stuff that's relevant to our culture. And I feel like, we need more people that just, want to take over as African Americans, as Black people in our community, and just start taking from the roots instead of just, buying a little chunk of the pie.
Yeah, man, I can feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just like, especially when it comes to like 5 years from now. I know you mentioned something about like manifestation and stuff and everything. Do you believe like script manifestation? Or do you just meditate?
I believe in a little bit of both. I think it's good to write, and really, like when you write something down, I think that it allows for you to go back and keep it in your memory a little bit better, versus like when you just say it, sometimes you could just say it and not really feel it. And you kind of forget about it and never really go back to that thought or, process behind it. But I think really my main thing is for me, I do a lot of speaking, but it comes with writing, because I view my music as a lot of manifestation in itself. Like, I like to talk about things that either I can self manifest or help somebody else, self manifest for themselves. So like, for me, I like to just speak it into existence a lot of the times. I know everybody always says it's like what is speaking into existence? It's kind of bullshit. But also at the same time, how many times have you watched somebody say I want to die, and then the next thing you know, they passed out on the floor from a drug overdose, or they got shot, or whatever it is. It's scary. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen at that exact moment when you say it. It's just, everybody's gonna have their time, everybody's gonna have their moment, everybody's gonna have their opportunity to, take it up to the next notch. And it's about whether you're ready for the moment and you've been preparing yourself and manifesting the moment, or whether you just been sleeping on it the entire time and had no clue that it was even coming.
Yeah, and it's always good to like speak that stuff into existence because energy is everything too, man. Like,
Yeah.
I say like things like my goals this year is like, drop 150 podcast episodes. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. My podcast thing started off as a concept with a cool logo. I'm not sure you see my logo, right?
Yeah, I love your logo, bro. That was the reason why I even hit you up, was because I saw it and I was like, bro, of the mental health
Mental
awareness.
Threads,
Yeah,
Mental
mental
Threads
threads.
podcast.
And yeah, it's just dope. I
Yeah,
love it.
man. It's just a concept. I'm just like, it just sounded right in my head. It just felt like me. You know what I'm saying? I just put
Yeah.
it on my vision board, and then next thing you know, it started off with just doing little itty bitty. So I don't know why I got equipment for it to be like I can just do this stuff off my phone or off Zoom like this. and everything. But soon, like I would like to also do like on a video type platform too. And it's ready because like when you start really making things a part of like yourself and everything over time, it starts to gain traction and momentum. And that's the cool about energy things. It's just like it'll probably start from just doing stuff like this. Next thing you know, I'll be able to transition to YouTube. Next thing you know, I'll be able to like, interview people that are like maybe government officials, stuff of that nature. I interviewed police officers. I've interviewed educators and stuff from my college. So, it's just like for the Mental Thugs podcast, it's not really just, just like one thing. It's just all sorts of things. That's why I love like interviewing people like artists because there's so many different influences and so many knickknacks that comes with just being an artist in that universe. Some people like come from their art reflects trauma. Sometimes it reflects motivation. Sometimes it reflects just growth over time. It's just there's so much space for it to change and so many opinions to go into that too. As me as an artist, it's so intriguing to like even talk to other artists too to see like kind of pick their brain of like what motivates them and like what their opinions are in regards to other matters too. So it's just stuff like that. It's just like it really kind of helps me network to a certain degree also, but it also kind of really kind of helps me branch out as a whole too. That's what I like about doing like my podcast thing. So it's like I really do believe in like manifestation too. It's just it all starts with an idea and then it starts being a part of you. It's like 5 years ago I would have never thought I was doing a podcast. I would like 2 years ago me just starting a podcast. Boom, that was like a part of my life. Type thing. That's all I ask people. Like, I'll be even interviewing like war veterans and people who used to be like in the Navy and they'd be seeing some crazy type stuff and just stuff of that nature. So it's like I'm blessed to at least like just live to see like that I'm actually bringing a lot of this stuff to fruition. So it's like when it's like now I'm on this is like my 68th episode. So it's like if I just keep it up like 10 episodes a month, 150 episodes, it won't be nothing. However, and everything when it comes to the whole music thing, like I'm at a weird like stage right now because like I'm still trying to seek out like the right employment. It's just like I pretty much already got a job set up. I just got to send them my birth certificate so we can pretty much move on with everything else. Like they might move me up to management or marketing because I specialize with business administration, marketing and stuff of that nature.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's just stuff of that nature. So it's just like like music is something that really helped me like really like kind of save my life. To the point like where I was at the point like feeling like suicidal type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's the same, for me, for real, like I could definitely relate to that. I mean, like whenever I started really getting into music, all of my first earlier songs, they're very depressing and they're bad quality. That's what I should say. I think they're really well written, but like they're really just bad in quality because I didn't have no, microphone to mix or
It's okay.
have a DAW, but at the same time, like at the time whenever I was making it, it was a way for me to, speak my feelings, speak my mind, speak things that like maybe other people are relating to at the same time. And like I feel like that's really like the whole goal, at least in my mind, is like I want to be able to soothe some of my, you know, my mental health and my personal problems by just being able to speak about it, and then maybe somebody else will relate. It's not like I'm like hoping that all of these people just somewhat someday make me famous or something like that. I
Yeah,
just
I
want
mean,
people to like listen to it and enjoy it. That's the whole thing about music is just for you to bop your head or tap your foot, snap your finger, whatever it is. It
yeah,
just
just
makes
reach your full potential because to
yeah.
be a rap artist and everything, you have to have a whole lot of confidence. So it's like when you're really built in like this. I even works with like doing stuff like martial arts, working out at the gym. Anything that you do more of, the more that you do, it builds confidence in yourself in doing that. So it's just like like it's just like for me like oh now we got 10 minutes again. That's all right. That's it. Anyway, so like it's just so when it comes to stuff like when you see like you pretty much seen the album cover for Ego Trip, right?
Yep.
Like my mixtape and everything. You already seen the post where you can pretty much listen to snippets of my songs and everything of that nature.
Yeah, no, yeah. I like your music, brother. For real.
Yeah, you hear the vibes of my stuff and everything of that nature. Like, that whole concept was like with mental health and everything, because like, like it's like Ego Trip was like a focus on the manias of depression and stuff and anxiety. Like one day you might feel like, oh, like I'm the shit and everything, like on a track. Oh yeah, I'm that man. And then next day you just feel like you're worthless. And like, damn, like why am I even here? What's even the point of moving on? Blah, blah, blah. And then in the end, it just all coincides with, you know what, don't even trip over it, you know, whatever, like you might feel about yourself or whatever, you know, just kind of vibe with it. You know, that's the whole journey of that whole tape. You know, it's just like not many people start their first project dropping like 12 songs, you know, just dropping it. I
Yeah.
had to really leave school and everything. So yeah, because a lot of it was COVID anyway, so it's like you had to be online. But I had to leave school, literally come home and everything because I had to really find isolate myself to really make sure I really like do the songs and actually go to the process of hitting the studio and everything to really get those 12 songs recorded. So it's just like, you know, it's just stuff like that. I was fasting during the time, eating nothing but like fruits, vegetables, lentils, and drinking nothing but water the whole time, just so I can be able to build that discipline and stuff of that nature. So it's just like it was like a whole therapeutic experience to a certain degree.
That's
And
dope.
yeah, and like now it's like, you know, now I'm focused on my next couple projects and everything of that nature, which is just like I hope it really adds up to 50 songs in total. One's gonna be the rediscovery, which is gonna be the one that's gonna be like the last project I'm gonna drop for this year, which is gonna be I'm shooting for 16 tracks, and it's just mostly gonna be like a Lauren Hill type, not a Lauren Hill type vibe.
Shout outs to Lauren
Yeah,
Hill, bro.
but it's really going to touch onto that whole classroom type aesthetic of really just rediscovering yourself, kind of looking back at their faults in the past and everything, how you grew from it, how can you grow in the future, and bring pretty much how does that really like, you know, guide you throughout the future. And then there's going to be another 15 track project I'm trying to drop this year called Whatever. It's going to be like a 3-part type project. The first 5 songs are going to be focused on day-to-day life and the mandanities that come with it, like, you know, what's the point of this whole thing, like why am I still doing the same things, you know, like my failures when it comes to all types of stuff, you know, and trying to find the value of things. And then there's going to be 5 songs in between that pretty much represent like, you know, an epiphany, like a dream sequence of just reflecting all my wants, my desires, my fears, things of that nature, just what I have to do and what to really get to a better place. And then the last 5 songs is just me focusing on really just applying this new philosophy and like really trying to be a go-getter, to really like trying to strive to like really live this life, you know, really just it kind of switch up the stigma on the term whatever. Like, you know, first is like, you know, life is whatever, why even care? To like, you know, life is whatever, why even care? You might as well just get the most out of it type thing.
Right. You only live once. Yeah.
Yeah, then there's also going to be other EPs leading up to a lot of these projects too. So it's just like, you know, that's the wonderful thing about music. It's like it's so therapeutic. It's like shadow work at the same time, but at the same time, it's a journey to really just rediscover the self. So it's like I'm glad I can really dedicate the rest of this year to really just kind of focusing on that. So it's like, you know, it's just stuff like that. So it's like, for the last segment, I just want to check in, like, what are your next, like, you know, focuses for your next music projects and stuff of that nature?
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely could relate to everything that you was just saying because I did some eerily similar, but not necessarily. You know, I didn't fast in the same way. I wish I was more healthy on certain things, but you know, I'm working on it. But um, you know, with the last project that I did that's about to come out May 30th, Melancholy Dreams. Um, it was originally a project that I did 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And it was a bunch of songs that I put together with me and my high school buddy who wanted to, you know, produce for me at the time. And again, like I just didn't had the equipment, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the time to, you know, go to the studio and really, you know, put the effort into it. So whenever it came out, I enjoyed a lot of the songs, but I wasn't, you know, thrilled about everything because I wasn't getting the greatest reaction to the project. So I ended up just like, you know, taking a couple of years. I ended up getting my own, you know, I actually I shouldn't say that. I went to the studio. Shout out to Aaron Eternal. He was my engineer for, you know, close to a year, you know, 6 months to a year, somewhere in that time frame. And he did a lot of my vocals and just kind of gave me some, you know, heads up on what I'm doing on that whole project while we're here. And then I ended up getting my own stuff and working on, you know, the project that I'm about to drop, which is a revamp. It's a revamp. It's a little bit shorter this time around, but it's dropping 2 years on the exact same day from whenever I originally dropped Melancholy Dreams. And, you know, it's an album about trying to find your way spiritually and mentally and just in life. Like, you know, like there's so many things that, you know, at least I question. I question a lot of stuff, you know, from I don't even want to get into all of it, bro. It'll just start turning into a whole conspiracy theory session, you know.
There's no problem.
You know what I'm saying? So like, but like that's my whole thing on this album is it's like I'm trying to figure out my life. I'm trying to figure out why I operate the way that I operate, and why do I believe the things that I believe. Whether that's religion, whether that's health wise, whether that's my friends and my moral value, my moral compass. That's really what this whole project was about, was just trying to figure out myself. And I hope people, kind of take a step back and like listen to it and ask themselves, similar questions. Cause like I feel like a lot of us are, a little bit blinded in today's time with everything that's going on, because there's so much that's going on. It's hard to even like focus on one thing. So, I heard this great quote from my girl. She said, when you follow something in the name of purity blindly, you usually end up led in the dark. So that's, I want people to question a little bit more. I want people to think a little bit more.
You want people to think like individuals and not be sheep in a sense. Yeah, no, I can understand that fully, man. Individualism is such a very, very important stature to like my philosophies in life too, because I feel like the people who killed Jesus were all followers behind the wrong governing system and everything like that. Like you literally murdered the son of God in like the worst way possible because you
Exactly.
wanted to fit in. Really think about like that, and you see it all the time with people just always trying to crucify people on the daily who are just probably thinking to themselves, the whole Kevin Samuels situation and everything. All Kevin Samuels said was just like, get your shit together, basically. That's all. Get your shit together, have higher values. The end. And then people shit on him over it, but then they'll fall behind a lot of these rap artists. It's a disrespect woman, all this, all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's just like you want to pour more of that instead of like more of this. And it's like, yeah, I feel like you just had to have both. You know what I'm saying? To kind of have stuff to choose from, but can't shit on
And
it.
that's what I was gonna say, bro. To me, music is so subjective. It's the same thing as when you paint something on a piece of paper and somebody just splats it all over the place and they say this is art, and then someone draws the Mona Lisa. So, overall music is so subjective, and it's one of those things that, bro, like, to me, if you make some hood ass shit, great. If you make some soft ass shit, great. It's all good stuff. It's the same thing that I view on people's, values and beliefs and religion and everything else. So it's like, you do you. You do you. I'll never crucify nobody for ever having their own values and beliefs. Ever.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Man. I feel like we're reaching like the last couple minutes and stuff of that nature. Is there anything that you want to leave? Like any last messages you like to say to the audience before we sign off?
Yeah, go check out, the new album that's coming out, Melancholy Dreams, May 30th. And then definitely check out some of the new music videos that we're dropping. We got some more stuff coming. And then follow me on Instagram at Real AF Official Music, and then on Twitter at Real AF Music.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for hopping on, man. I appreciate it. I feel like this is a very, very good ass episode and everything. I feel like I need to really kind of really motivates me to want to like do a whole lot more interviews before the end of this year. It was great conversing with you, man. I appreciate it. I hope to touch base with you when I move to DC and stuff of that nature. So, thank you.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you out here in the DMV, brother. Shout out to Mental Threats.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's it for the Mental Threats podcast. We're signing in now. We're signing out. Appreciate it.